nose, and she took another moment to savor it. She wasn't a Hawaii native, but she did enjoy living here. She got behind the wheel and headed for The Roast down the street. Sunday didn't normally see too many people before 6 a.m., so there was no wait. Victoria leaned out of the window, her face brightening when Esther rolled down her window. "Esther, aloha. The usual?" "+1," she said, which was her code to get her coffee as well as one for Marshall. Vic knew how to make them, and she ducked back into the hut. Several minutes later, Esther lifted her to-go cup to her lips, the sweet caramel and the rich cream making the dark roast coffee delicious. A sigh passed through her whole body, and she twisted to accept the second cup. Marshall's coffee, regular roast, 1 splash of chocolate, 1 of milk. He took his richness in the cocoa, not the cream, and Esther had tried his concoction once on a morning when he didn't need a ride. Vic hadn't been any the wiser because Esther had gotten her usual too. And while she thought nearly everything Marshall did was perfect, she much preferred her caramel cream concoction to his. Not that it mattered. Marshall barely knew her name, and if he had to pick her out of a lineup, Esther felt sure that he'd fail. Even the women he took to fancy dinners and business parties barely got a glance from him. She handed over the cash for the coffees and eased the car back onto the road. It was a 20-minute drive up twisty, turny roads to Marshall's cliffside mansion. Esther could make the drive in her sleep, and sometimes she did. She never wore her power suits in those fantasies, but fun, flowy, flowery dresses with flirty footwear and lip gloss the color of ripe raspberries. Her hair flowed over her shoulders, and Marshall pushed it back to kiss her bare skin there. She cleared her throat and her thoughts and glanced at herself in the rearview mirror. Maybe she seemed a bit flushed, but that could have been from the coffee or the humidity. She completed the drive and parked with the front bumper right up at the gate. Marshall never buzzed her in. She'd never seen the inside of his home. He came down the black asphalt driveway, always wearing a perfectly tailored suit in black, gray, or navy blue. Esther much preferred the navy ones. And as he approached today, Esther didn't deviate from her routine. She got 5 seconds to ogle him, and then she'd look straight through the windshield, acknowledge him professionally, and unlock the doors. Today, her 5 seconds saw him saunter toward her, so sexy and so untouchable it hurt. When her time was up, she turned and looked at her birthday gift for him on the back seat. Should she grab it now before he saw it? What would he think? She'd been driving him for years and never given him a birthday present. He'd never acted like it was his birthday on the day of, but he'd mentioned his summer birth date a few years ago. Esther was a master at remembering small details. Her knack for it had kept customers loyal to her for long periods of time, and she trained all her drivers to pay attention to what people told them as they drove around the island. She gave him a single nod and clicked the locks open. Marshall always sat on the passenger side in the back seat. Today was no different. His long legs came first, followed by that toned body that must see hours in a gym. Esther wrenched her thoughts from his body and watched as he spotted the blue-wrapped package on the seat. "What's this?" He lifted it, the pale paper contrasting with his half-dark skin. "Happy birthday, sir," Esther said. He shook his head and started to chuckle. "You never cease to amaze me. How do you remember all that you do?" "Oh, I can't reveal my secrets." She could also never reveal how warm his words made her. "Should I open it?" "Sure, go ahead." He ripped the paper along the tape, always so proper. She wondered what it would be like to see him in a pair of shorts, casually eating with friends or spending time with his family. She knew the Robisons were a tight-knit group as she drove him to his parents' home every Thursday for dinner. There really was so much to learn about a person just by watching them. His laughter filled the car, and it was glorious. Esther wanted to bottle it and unstop it in the few moments before she fell asleep at night, so it could accompany her into sleep. A crossword puzzle book. He held it up for her to see, as if she didn't know what she'd wrapped. "Thank you, Esther." He gazed at the book with fondness, and when those dark eyes switched to her, he lit up her whole world. She cleared her throat again and adjusted her sunglasses to make sure she wasn't